Hey guys, and welcome to another video in this relatable series. Again, this is a series that is just my experiences, not my knowledge of anything. I figured this would be a good series to have on my channel. One, because it's life related, just like bullet journaling is in many ways. And I figured it would be a good way to share my experiences so that maybe someone who is watching or someone who finds my channel will not feel alone in something they're going through. Today's video isn't necessarily helpful, as it is probably entertaining. If you're a college student who's about to graduate or is thinking about graduation coming up, this might be a cool video to watch. I don't know if it would be helpful necessarily, rather than just hearing someone else's graduation experience. Mine wasn't really anything out of the ordinary, but I do still want to share it just because I know there are a lot of people who mention that their graduation experience is either good or bad, or just may as well hear an ordinary one, right? Mine was at our local center where concerts and hockey games and stuff happen. It was actually at a really big place where I wasn't used to that. Usually every graduation I've been to that has been one of mine has been for it's always been at a basketball court or something like that. Even with a school with 500 plus people in our graduating class, high school, I'm looking at you, was in just a basketball court. There was not enough seating and it was blazing hot and just horrible. But luckily for my college one, I was able to have it in a big place. It was awesome. There was a ton of seating. It was just a lot nicer and definitely was a lot better than past graduations I've been to, just because it was a nicer establishment to have it in, so it felt like all that money that we put toward college actually was appreciated, slash hey, you earned this kind of thing. So pretty much whenever that day came around, we had a practice one that we went to in the morning, and then all afternoon we had time to eat, relax, whatever, before we went to the graduation ceremony at night. And at my practice one, at the practice that we had in the morning, we actually, we got seated, and I was actually in the back for some reason. It was A through something. I don't really know how they seated us, to be honest. It was really weird how they did, because my last name starts with G, and I was in the very back of the second, there were two sections, and I was in the second section, and for some reason my name was in the back. I think it was in 4 sections, I believe, so associates in sciences, applied sciences, arts, and something. I don't know. I think they went based on the associate's degrees. I could be wrong. So yeah, I don't really remember how we were all seated. I'm sure I have a program somewhere that would tell me, but all I could find so far was my tassel, and I actually didn't even wear this tassel. I actually wore my Phi Theta Kappa one, and I was actually able to wear a sash, a gold sash that put me, stood me out against everything else. I know my hat and stuff are somewhere. I just don't remember where, because I did actually decorate my cap. I'll put a picture right here in the video to show you what it was. Pretty much, since I was an art major, I just did my hat as a simple color wheel slash artist palette, kind of a play on both. Anyways, getting off topic. For the practice run through, I was sitting in the back, and I was actually, on my left was a pregnant woman, and on my right was someone I actually went to high school with, and I actually ended up becoming pretty good friends with the pregnant woman on my left, and the one on my right actually recognized me, so it was kind of cool that at my college graduation we hooked back up, because I met her in freshman year of high school, and she was a senior at the time, and we graduated in the same year of college, which was kind of crazy, because it's wow, small world kind of a thing. And like I said, I went to a community college, so I did see a lot of people that I already knew, but it was just kind of funny that she was the one that sat right next to me, you know what I mean? practice went fairly well. It was a little bit nerve-wracking just because, you know, I had to find my spot, I had to find my name, I had to, you know, we had to line up for practice for later on that day, and, you know, none of us had really ever gone through it before. It's a community college, for crying out loud, you know? Like, usually if you go to a community college, you haven't been through a college graduation before. So, it was kind of like, oh my god, what are we doing? What are we doing? Kind of a feeling. And I remember the jitters, I remember the nerves, I remember the excitement. Like, it was just a whole bundle of things. And plus, during this time, I was going through still jitters because I had had an interview the day before for my job I have now, and I didn't have a voice. I was I was interviewing for a receptionist job with no voice, and I somehow got it. Don't ask me how. So I still didn't have a voice at graduation, and since it's kind of loud in there, and you know nobody could hear me, and it was just I was stressed about that, but I didn't have anything to talk during graduation, so I don't know why I was so stressed about it. I think it was just annoying because I had had that for like 6 months. Like, whenever I was going through all of the graduation, I had this no voice sinus crap. I myself felt okay. I didn't feel like I had the flu or a cold or anything. I just felt like my sinuses had been hit with a baseball bat, and my throat didn't hurt. It's just I had no voice. And the new car sales manager actually had the same thing I did for about 6 months. And doctors weren't giving antibiotics for it, so I'm like, I'm not going to pay them hundreds of dollars, go US, to tell me nothing we can do. So I just didn't go. And that ended up going away like a month after graduation, but still I had like no voice. So after practice, my friend from Peoria actually decided to come down and celebrate with me, and it was super fun because we had like this whole day planned out, and I actually have a bullet journal spread that shows what my day originally was planned out to and how it changed. So I didn't know when the practice was. They didn't tell us that until about 4 days beforehand, and that's when we found out when we were supposed to be there. So like our whole day pretty much was a kibosh. It just got thrown out the window because we were going to go to the zoo, we were going to go shopping, we were going to do all kinds of things, and we ended up just going to lunch and do a little bit of shopping before we had to go back to my place, and I had to get ready. So our day kind of got a little messed up, but it was still fun. I got to meet up with her, and it was really fun to hang out with her, and I was so grateful that she came down. It was awesome to have like a friend there. Austin also came to my graduation, and so did my parents, so I actually had 4 people there for me. Plus, you know, any of my friends who were also graduating, and I knew their parents, like, they were there as well. So, like I mentioned before, I just had the black, our school colors are black and gold, so, for Black Hawk. But we had black robes, you know, gold and black tassels. My Phi Theta Kappa tassel was actually just pure gold, so this was actually just gold on top of my head. And then I also had the sash with Phi Theta Kappa on it. I have that over there, I think, somewhere, but I don't feel like grabbing it right now. And I actually wore my Galaxy shoes that I ended up painting myself, because with all the art department stuff going around, 1, I didn't want to wear heels, and 2, the art department stuff that was going on during that whole entire semester that pretty much distracted me the entire semester. I was wearing my goddamn freaking tennis shoes that I painted myself because I'm an artist. So I was making a statement in my mind. And that actually goes on to something else that happened later that day, but we'll get to that. So arriving, my dad decided, you know, we're not going to park near the event center. We are going to park in downtown, so that way we can just walk and maybe get out faster. Well, see, in theory, it sounded like a good idea. But there were me, my parents, Austin, and Skylar. So there were 5 of us trying to get to this place. And there was a ton of construction going on. Like, literally anywhere in my city that you turned, there was construction. So instead of cutting across like we normally could, we had to go around and backtrack. So instead of doing that, we actually ended up turning down a wrong street, and we actually ended up trekking through a construction site that, I mean, nobody was working. It wasn't like there was anybody there. and it was pretty much just like a gravel area because they were redoing a parking lot or something like that. We just ended up walking across it because we were not running late, but running late by our standards. So like my family, unless we're 15 minutes early, we're late. so yeah, that we had to do a little bit of trekking, and I was really annoyed by the end of it, but what are you gonna do? We made it there on time. I didn't get too dirty. It was just kind of annoying because my hat kept falling off because it was super windy that day. We actually ended up having tornado warnings by the end of it, and they actually ended up keeping us in the event center until it was okay to go outside. Like, literally after graduation, we were kind of stuck there for a couple minutes while they figured out if it was safe for us to leave or not. So, Illinois, man. So, whenever we finally got there, I went in, and there was a place where I had to go. They got to go pick out their seats. I told them right about where I was going to be at, and they ended up sitting like right to my right. So like if I looked right and looked up, they were up there. And that is pretty much prime spot. They got a really good spot. And Austin was wearing his Jake from State Farm shirt. So it was very easy spotting him in the crowd. Let's put it that way. Now, this is when I started to get really nervous and excited. So, I was excited for it to be over. I was sad it was ending. I was nervous to go up and across the stage because my last name is kind of hard to pronounce. Sort of. Like, you wouldn't think it would be, but people just don't know how to say my last name for some reason. And the fact that it was so hard to say, I was really afraid that, after all this work, after all this time and stress and money, they were going to say my name wrong at graduation, and that was honestly what I was most nervous about. I wasn't afraid of tripping because I was wearing tennis shoes, and I'm always okay in those, so it wasn't too bad. I was shaking so bad. Oh my god, I remember just being, like, really nervous and shaky, and it wasn't the kind of shaky, though, that, like, your hands were going nuts, but it was just that inside shake, like, oh, I'm nervous kind of feeling. So I went up, they had a little ramp on the sides, so like you came up this way, went across, and then went down another ramp to go back to your spot. And I actually, because of all the art department stuff going on, I was kind of really, like, pissy at the administration. So the president was actually one of the big culprits who wanted to get rid of the art department because she just didn't get it. She doesn't understand art. She doesn't understand why people would want to take classes, even though our students were the ones who were taking all of the other classes, making them money. So, anyways, so after I got my diploma, shook people's hands, I went up and I had to shake her hand, and she complimented my shoes. Now, remember when I said I made those shoes? Remember when I said I painted those shoes? Yeah. So she shook my hand and said, "I love your shoes." And I went up and I looked right back at her and said, "Thanks, I made them myself. I'm an artist." And I walked away. So, I don't know if she heard me. I don't even care if she heard me. I'm just proud of myself that I stood up to her, and I don't care if she even thought anything of it. I did that. I said that to her face, and I don't even care. So, I mentioned before that I might do a whole video on, like, the whole debacle with the art department, but I think I've explained it pretty much enough over a couple of videos for people to understand kind of what happened. And like I said, I had no voice, but for some reason, during that time, I remember being able to speak very well during that point. So, the fact that she was also able to hear me made me feel a little bit better. So yeah, I didn't trip, I didn't mess up anything, I really didn't feel like anything went wrong besides the fact that we had to climb through a construction site and there were tornadoes outside and all of a sudden we couldn't leave, so that was kind of freaky because there was a ton of people there, and yeah, it was a little bit hectic. So after that, I was able to meet up with my art friends that I just graduated with, all of my professors, and at the end of graduation, so we all walk through the we all walk through the back entrance, and all of the professors line up and like high five us and cheer us on as we're running out. And none of us threw our hats up. Like, I feel like that's a high school thing, because none of us threw our hats up. I mean, you'd be able to find it if it was, you know, depending on the tassel and or the decorations you put on top. Like, some people went over the top with their caps, okay? Like, I was told to go, like, minimal, because they were like, oh, well, we don't want you to decorate your caps. And all the art students are like, yeah. So yeah, they were all cheering us on, and they were all like slapping our hands, giving us high fives. A couple of them stopped and gave me a hug, which was really nice. And it was really just cool to see all of the professors that I had throughout my 3 years there kind of ushering me out, and it was really cool and emotional. I almost cried. I actually went through the entire thing without crying, though. I was really proud of myself. So because of the bad storms and because of the tornado stuff that was happening outside, high winds, it was crazy. I had to take my hat off because it kept flying off. So my friend in Austin went home early, and because my friend had an 1.5-hour drive home, and it was pretty much heading straight toward where she lives, so she was kind of racing it home, and then Austin just wanted to get home so he could be home before the big storm hit. So that was kind of not how I planned. I had imagined partying with my boyfriend and one of my best friends, you know, that night, because I thought, you know, I always thought that that's what I wanted. You know, like, I wanted to go to a bar with them, I wanted to go hang out, I wanted to, you know, chill and have a celebratory dinner or something, and they both just ended up going home, and it was like, oh, okay, that's cool, I guess, you know? But I ended up with no voice, definitely no voice, going to a bar and hanging out with my art friends that we all graduated with, and some of them who were already graduated, some of them who were not graduated yet. Everybody came and supported each other, especially after that last semester of hell, and it was really great that we all just kind of had this like spot and barrel house, and we were all just chilling, drinking, and being able to just kind of like celebrate. And it was really awesome because I had never really had that before. I had just turned 21 last February, so I'll be turning 22 whenever this video goes up. I think if I put this video up on time, it should be going up like right after my 22nd birthday. I had just turned 21 that February, and it was May at the time, so I hadn't really gone out very much. I barely went out for my birthday. I'm like really lame, guys. I'm lame. But I was actually able to go out, and I was actually able to have fun, have a drink or two, and it was close enough that I could drive home safe even if I was a little bit buzzed, you know. Obviously didn't go overboard. I didn't really want to. I didn't really have the money to. And I ended up staying out until almost 2 in the morning. And it was pretty great. Nothing was super over the top. Nothing was really under what I expected, besides the fact that my 2 friends that came didn't really want to do anything, which, I mean, if that's the only thing that goes wrong in a day, then that's pretty good, in my opinion. So yeah, my college graduation experience wasn't really the amazing or terrible version of a graduation. I've heard horror stories, I've heard amazing stories, but no one ever really hears about just the ordinary ones, so I figured this would be a good one to share. So, you know, if you feel like yours either was or is going to be just an ordinary graduation, those are sometimes the best. I mean, nothing amazing has to happen for you to enjoy yourself and for you to celebrate your accomplishments. So, that being said, I hope you enjoyed. Hit the subscribe button if you want more bullet journal videos and videos like this. I'm trying to bring in a little bit of real life into my channel because I love a personal channel, and I love hearing about the user of each channel I follow more than I usually watch their regular videos. Hit the little bell next to the subscribe button if you want notifications for whenever I upload. Hit the like button if you did. If you have a graduation experience from high school, college, undergrad, PhD, whatever it is. If you have a graduation experience, comment down below. Let's have a conversation about it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye! Hi guys, and welcome to another video. My dad is hammering stuff into the wall. Go figure. He just does that all the time.